share some other useful built-in functions and list methods that will come in useful on your journey. Let's now look at a few more built-in Python tools that make list processing faster and more efficient for you. Starting with len. This first function I want to share with you is built-in len function. Len function is a built-in function that tells you how many items are inside a list. So let's take the first example where we have fruits list. In this list, we have passed apple, banana, cherry, and kiwi. Now let's print the fruits list. So it has apple, banana, cherry, and kiwi. So let's now see, using the len function, how many elements does this list have? So print len fruits. So it has returned the output 4. So there are 4 elements inside the fruits list. This len function only counts the top level items and it does not count what's inside any sublists. So let's look at now a second example where we have got sublists and let's see how many lists does it count. So let's say we have numbers is equal to a list and it has got sublists like 10, 20 and 30 and it has another sublist with the elements 40 and 50. Okay. Now let's print numbers list. So it has 10, 20, 30 and 40, 50 sublists. Now let's print the len of numbers list. So it has returned 2. That means it considers the sublists as one element only. So it only counts the top level items and it does not count what's inside any sublists. So for it, there are only 2 elements in the list. Now, if we want to get the count of the number of items in a sublist, we have to count within a sublist, we have to access it using indexing. And then we have to use the len built-in function. So let's see how that is done. Let's print len and then inside that numbers list. Now with that, let's give 0. That is the 0 element at the position 0. And let's give this. So it has given us 3. So that means the sublist at the index position 0 has got 3 elements inside it. So I hope this is clear to you that how len function helps us count the number of elements inside lists and how we can use it with the index to count the number of elements inside a sublist. Next, let's look at the built-in function called range, that is helps us create a number sequence. So the range function lets us quickly generate a sequence of numbers without typing them manually. So we can give print and we can give range and we can give 5. And when we run our code, it gives us range 0 to 5. So this returns a range object. Now if we want to create a list with it, we'll give print. Let's convert it into a list. Then we give range and then we give 5. Now let's run it. So it gives us a list from 0 till 4. That is range last element minus 1. So it gives us a list containing elements 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So when you give one number to range, it starts from 0 and it stops right before that number. So just before 5, it stops. That is at 4. So range function does not give the list directly. It gives us a range object like we just saw above, which we can convert using the list. Now if we pass in 2 values, now if you provide 2 numbers, the first where the range starts and the second is where it ends, but the second number is exclusive. It doesn't include that. So if we give print, we give list and we give range. Now let's suppose we give 3, 8. Okay, so what is output we get? We get a list of 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 because it just stops before the last element, stop element that we have given because it is exclusive. So it will stop at 7. Now we can also add a third value to control the step size between the numbers. So we can now let's look at what is step size. So print, if we give list and if we give range starting from 0 till 20. So we have to give 21, comma, let's give a step size of 5. Now let's run it. So we get a list from 0 to 20 with 5 step size. So 0, 5, 10, 15 and 20. So this third value helps us control the step size between the numbers, which is the start and the stop number. Next, let's look at zip. This zip function allows us to quickly combine associated data sets. Zip functions lets us merge 2 or more lists elements by element into pairs or tuples. So let's take an example. Students is equal to, let's say we have a list Alice. Next, let's have Joy. And next, let's have Joseph. Or let's give Alan. So we have a list of students with the names Alice, Joy, and Alan. And we have a list marks is equal to 88, 76, and 91. Now let's see the combined variable is equal to, let's zip using the zip functions, let's zip students, comma, marks. We combine students, comma, marks. Zip function lets you merge two or more lists elements by element into pairs or tuples. Now, let's say we have a students list with the name Alice, Joy, and Alan, and they have another list called marks with the numbers 88, 76, and 91. In the combined variable, we zip students list and marks together. Now, when we print combined, it lets us merge two or more lists element, the zip function, and it returns a zip object, which we can convert into a list to see the paired values clearly. Because when we print combined a zip object, it shows us just zip object. To see it, we have to convert it into a list, and we pass the combined variable, so it helps us see the elements. These pairs that we see here are stored as tuples, and they use parentheses instead of brackets and are immutable or unchangeable. Next, let's understand the index method. This method helps us find the position of an item. The index method helps you find what value appears, where a value first appears in a list. So let's see the colors is equal to red, blue, green. Again, let's give blue, comma, yellow. Now let's print colors, comma, colors dot notation, index method, and let's see the index of the color blue, which we parse in the parenthesis. So we get the index value returned as 1. So at the index 1, we have the color blue. So this method will return the index value of the first occurrence of blue. Okay. And it also helps us find where a value first appears in a list. So we have seen this example for the color blue. It has returned the index 1 and it has shown the index of the first occurrence of blue. Second, we can also now set a starting index for the search using a second argument. Now, let's say we want to see the index of the second occurrence of blue. So how will we do that? Let's see, print. Then we give colors dot index, and we can give for what we want to find blue, and we want to start at the second index. Now when we run, so it has returned the index 3. So we set a starting index for the search using a second argument, that is 2. So it has returned us the index of the second occurrence of blue, that is the index 3. Now let's see another method, which is the count method, that will allow us to obtain the number of observations or occurrences of a value. It lets us see how many times a value appears in a list. So how many times, let's look at an example. Let's say we have a variable votes, and this list has the elements yes, then somebody has voted no, again yes, again maybe somebody has voted, and another yes in this list. Now let's print this list votes. So we have yes, no, yes, maybe, yes. Now if we want to count the number of occurrences, so how will we do? We will give print the name of the list votes, we give the dot notation, let's give count method, and let's give yes, and then let's give. Okay, now let's see the number of occurrences of the element yes. Now when we print, we get 3. So this element is present 3 times in the list. It will tell us how many times a value appears in a list. So yes has appeared 3 times in the list. Here's another example with numbers. Let's say we have grades list is equal to with the grades 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Or let's give some repeated values 10, 20, then again let's give 10, then let's give 30, then let's give 10, and then let's give 40. Now let's print the grades list. Okay, so 10, 20, 10, 30, 10, 40. Now we can print grades dot count, and if we want to count the number of occurrences of the value 10, so let's give 10 and let's print it. So it has given us 3 again. So this number 10 has been repeated, or it has occurred 3 times in the list grades. Next, Now you have to try these methods on your own lists to master their behavior. They'll save time and effort in your